Imagine relying on a daily pill to safeguard your heart health, only to learn that widespread recalls are casting doubt on the very drugs millions trust. Welcome to the startling reality of the atorvastatin recall that's got everyone talking. A significant withdrawal of generic atorvastatin, the most frequently prescribed cholesterol-reducing medication in the United States, has sparked worries about shortcomings in manufacturing abroad. If you're among the countless people who depend on cholesterol-lowering medications known as statins, you might have come across a wave of news stories since late October 2025 detailing a broad recall involving numerous bottles of atorvastatin, the non-brand name equivalent of Lipitor. Both the generic atorvastatin and the branded Lipitor share the identical active component, atorvastatin calcium, and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, deems them biologically interchangeable. This medication stands as the best-selling drug nationwide, with more than 115 million prescriptions filled for over 29 million Americans annually. The recall, initiated by Ascend Laboratories, has the potential to impact hundreds of thousands of individuals. But here's where it gets controversial. This isn't just an isolated incident, it's a symptom of deeper, systemic flaws in how our medicines are produced overseas. To help newcomers grasp the basics, let's break down what statins actually are. Statins represent a group of medications designed to decrease levels of LDL cholesterol, commonly referred to as the bad cholesterol that can clog arteries. They achieve this by inhibiting a specific enzyme in the liver responsible for cholesterol synthesis, which in turn minimizes the accumulation of fatty plaque inside blood vessels. This process plays a crucial role in warding off serious events like heart attacks and strokes. Popular examples include atorvastatin, sold as Lipitor, rosuvastatin, known as Crestor, and simvastatin, marketed as Zocor. These drugs are usually taken just once a day and rank among the most widely prescribed pharmaceuticals globally for combating cardiovascular issues. For instance, someone with high cholesterol might start on a statin regimen, experiencing a gradual drop in their LDL levels over weeks, which could translate to a 20 to 30% reduction in heart attack risk, depending on their overall health profile. Now, zooming in on the specifics, which pills are under recall, and what's driving this decision. Ascend Laboratories, headquartered in New Jersey, initially disclosed the recall on September 19, 2025, targeting approximately 142,000 bottles of their generic atorvastatin. Each bottle held either 90, 500, or 1,000 tablets, sufficient for about 3 to 33 people to get through a single month. By October 10, the FDA upgraded it to a Class 2 recall, indicating that the faulty pills might lead to temporary or medically reversible adverse health consequences. Laboratory analyses uncovered that certain tablets didn't dissolve correctly, a critical phase that allows the active ingredient to enter the bloodstream. This flaw impacted production runs from November 2024 to September 2025. If atorvastatin fails to break down properly, less of it gets absorbed, weakening its ability to reduce LDL cholesterol. Patients might not notice immediate effects, but over time, their vulnerability to heart attacks and strokes could escalate markedly. And this is the part most people miss. Even a slight dip in effectiveness could quietly undermine years of preventive care, raising ethical questions about whether we should trust global supply chains with our health. So, what's the advice for those affected? Healthcare professionals strongly recommend continuing your medication unless your doctor or pharmacist advises otherwise. Skipping doses entirely could pose greater risks than sticking with recalled tablets. To verify if your supply originates from Ascend Laboratories, scan your prescription label for markings like MFG Ascend or MFR Ascend. Additionally, the first 5 digits of the National Drug Code, NDC, specifically 67877 for Ascend, can pinpoint the distributor. Your pharmacist is equipped to cross-check your batch and assist in transitioning to a different generic atorvastatin or another statin option, such as rosuvastatin, ensuring a seamless switch without interrupting your routine. This recall fits into a broader trend of production failures that have been surfacing lately. While Ascend handles distribution within the US, the recalled Atorvastatin was actually produced by Ascend Laboratories in India. Over the last 10 years, a substantial portion of global pharmaceutical manufacturing has relocated to India and China, which has strained the FDA's ability to conduct thorough checks. The COVID-19 outbreak interrupted international inspections, and the agency is still playing catch-up. Foreign factories frequently receive warnings ahead of visits, which can soften the scrutiny. In the recent past, we've seen several alarming quality debacles. In 2024, 8 fatalities were linked to Glenmark Pharmaceuticals' potassium chloride capsules that failed to dissolve adequately. By 2025, inspectors uncovered manipulated test data at the same Glenmark facility. Even Ascend Laboratories has a history of such problems. In 2023, they pulled 58,000 bottles of the blood pressure medication Metoprolol XL due to identical dissolution shortcomings. This pattern begs the question, should consumers have more say in demanding stricter global standards? The larger issue at play: significant shortcomings in regulatory supervision. With constrained budgets, the FDA has resorted to sampling imported drugs randomly and collaborating with third-party labs like Valazure to spot impurities or defects. Yet, only a tiny percentage of products undergo testing annually. In 2024, the FDA began aligning inspections with the European Medicines Agency to distribute the workload, but patients still face the gamble of encountering subpar drugs without prior alerts. Controversially, some argue this outsourcing saves costs, but at the expense of safety. Could stricter tariffs on imported meds force better oversight, or would that just drive up prices for everyone? What steps can you take proactively? If you observe that a medication you've been using long-term seems to be losing potency or triggers unexpected side effects, promptly inform your pharmacist or submit a report via the FDA's MedWatch system. Heightened awareness from the public can accelerate the identification of problematic batches by authorities. For the time being, people depend heavily on sporadic testing and voluntary recalls to maintain medication safety, a concerning state of affairs for drugs intended to shield our hearts. What do you think? Is this recall a wake-up call for reforming international drug manufacturing, or are we overreacting to a fixable issue? Do you believe the FDA should prioritize domestic production more aggressively? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with the experts on continuing medication, or disagree? Let's discuss.